No, just one for everybody. No. And then I have Zamzam.
You brought them?
Huh?
You brought
them?
them?
Yeah. And I have Zamzam water. I don't have cups.
Oh, this is Ajwa. Very
good. You can take some. Just take one and pass it down.
Lovely.
Sister Diana will make the announcement
Ajwa.
when he's done. Alright?
So if you guys want, you can start eating. I don't mind.
Please, don't throw the CD.
Alright.
Don't throw the CD.
Huh?
Give it to me.
Go till like, go till like about 4.
Huh?
Go till like about 4.
Okay. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulih nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So today I just want to have a conversation with everybody about my Umrah experience. So over spring break I got to travel to Dubai first, and then I got to go to Umrah, right? So I want to basically talk about that. So I went with ICNYU with Khalid Latif and other people, so it was really awesome. So before I'm gonna give you like a pretext of what happened. So I signed up. I paid about less than $2,000 for my trip, and it's for about 10 days. I left on March 9th, and my plane went to Dubai. And I had a friend in Dubai, and I had an 8-hour layover. So we basically like toured everywhere in Dubai. We went to the Burj Khalifa. Like when I got to Dubai, I felt I never left the United States. Like I thought I was in California. Like that's what it felt like. Like I see flamingos flying around. There were flamingos. I went to the world's biggest aquarium, and there were like penguins there.
I'm so jealous. I love aquarium.
Did I mention the Dubai trip was free? So
what?
It was just a layover. It was part of my Umrah thing. So it was an 8-hour layover. So we got there, and for those guys who don't know, Dubai like 15 years ago was like a straight up desert, and now it's like a thriving, money built like thing, you know. They have a 7-star hotel in which a cup of coffee costs $150. I'm serious, $150 for a cup of coffee.
Really? How many star hotel?
Huh?
How many star hotel?
7 stars.
I thought 5.
Is that good?
Now, if that's not enough, all right, hold on. If that's not enough, the highest room in the Burj Al Arab, which is called, to press the toilet, it costs $44. To make the water go up and come down, it costs $44. So, and I kid you not. Alright, so we went. So my time in Dubai was spent. I don't want to spend too much time in Dubai right now. I want to get to the, Umrah, but I'm just saying, right? So in Dubai, I went to the world's biggest aquarium. Imagine like an aquarium, a huge aquarium inside like Garden State Plaza or like the Willowbrook Mall. That's exactly what it was. We went inside the Dubai Mall, and it's like, there was a 500-foot TV screen with an ice rink with it inside the mall. And then you go more in, and there's an aquarium. It's the world's biggest aquarium.
You have to pay to get into an aquarium?
Yeah, it was like $20.
That's it?
So, yeah.
$40?
No flushing of the fishes or
They were, alright, so when we're traveling into it, there were like sharks on top of us, and it was really cool, right? And if you pay the money, you can go and scuba dive with all those sharks and fish and everything. Yeah. So we didn't have enough time. So we were also planning to go skydiving, but that didn't work out. So there wasn't enough time for that. So alright, so that's Dubai, amazing food. We flew Emirates, food is great there too. Alright, fly Emirates. Emirates is amazing. Okay. Our flight finally lands in Jeddah. Alright, Jeddah looked like a big toilet. That's exactly what it looked like. It was disgusting. Like, we landed in Jeddah. Like, one of the people in our group, she went to go make wudu in the bathroom. She came out and she puked. She said that's how bad the bathrooms were in there. So this is just Jeddah. So we're getting ready. We have to get onto a bus to go to Medina. So finally we get to Medina, right? We get into our hotel rooms. It's like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. And this is my first time ever, right? So Medina is the city of the Prophet ﷺ, right? That's where the Prophet ﷺ is buried. That's where he established his masjid, and it's a very flourishing city. So we get into Medina, and nobody's tired, even though we've traveled. Like, we haven't slept in almost 25 hours, but nobody's tired. So at this point, we get in. Like, I get ready. It's 1:30 or 2 in the morning. we get into the masjid and we make our way to the front of the masjid. So I'm like walking around, I don't know where exactly I am, so I'm walking inside the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, and I see all red carpets, right? And suddenly I see like a huge crowd of people on like the front left. And I'm like, you know, typical thing, oh my god, people, let's go see what's happening over there. It's like whether they're all falling into a cliff or whether they're having a good time, let's just go see, it's a lot of people. So I'm walking, and suddenly the carpets turn green. And I'm like, what's this? And then there was like this old guy over there, he's probably in the 70s or something, and I asked him, I'm like, where are we exactly? It's like, buddy, you know where you're standing? I'm like, I have no idea where I'm standing. It's like, you're standing in the Riyadh al-Jannah. And the Riyadh al-Jannah, for those of you guys who don't know, the Prophet ﷺ said that whatever is between his house and his mimbar is considered a garden of the gardens of paradise. So basically, like, everything will be destroyed, like, you know, on the Day of Judgment. And they say Jannah is the only thing that's going to remain. So imagine this is a garden of paradise somebody's standing in. So they say that once you enter there, and the Saudis, to basically demarcate that area, they put green carpets there to show that this is a part of paradise, this is the Riyadh al-Jannah. So basically I saw sights which I've never seen before. Can somebody do that work? That's okay? Thanks. But basically, right, I see this is insane. So there are people cleaning, right? They're cleaning the whole, like, the Garden of Paradise, and the cleaners, like, let the tape open a little bit to, like, let people in. They stampede at, like, the speed of light in there, and I thought there was an earthquake happening. Like, it was crazy. So this whole place is filled. So now, just to pray 2 rak'ahs, you know, you have to literally find a spot, or get lucky, somebody has to be leaving. So by that time, I can't find a place to pray. Like, there are literally people, there's like one person standing like this, and another person standing in front of him like this, and they're like praying on each other's backs. Like, it's crazy. So I got lucky, you know, there was somebody leaving, and he literally took me by my hand and put me in a spot. So I got like a good 20 minutes there. Alright. So this is the first day I'm there. I pray Fajr, I go back to the hotel room, and I knocked out till Dhuhr. We found out, okay, so this is the crazy part, we thought it was just NYU going with us. Lo and behold, there was a whole Muslim Officers Society from the NYPD who were also on our trip. So, right, crazy stuff, right? It's perfect timing. It's like NYPD officers who were there. It's like crazy. But these guys are pretty legit, actually. It was pretty crazy. So, and these guys are high-ranking detectives. Like, there's this guy named Ahmed Nasser, who's like a detective in Brooklyn. Like, he's straight up Yemeni, but he talks like he's an Italian. So we found out that they filed to have bodyguards with us from the Saudi government. So the Saudi government approved it like the day we came or the day before or something like that. So basically, everywhere we're going now, we have Saudi bodyguards with us. Lo and behold, the next day, those Saudi bodyguards, for our group only, they closed off the area of the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh and Umar radiallahu anh, along with the Riyadh al-Jannah, just for us for 40 minutes.
You got a lot.
Yeah. They closed it off for just our group for 40 minutes. So,
What's the promo code for that?
no, this is the thing, right? We didn't, like, nobody expected it. Our group leaders didn't know about this. Like, Khalid Latif didn't know about this, he was telling us. So he's saying that those cops hooked it up. Okay, so, I'm serious, right? It's like, it's like, you know, it'd be hilarious to see a report 5 years from now. It's like Umrah trip students, not a threat, useless. So we prayed there. We had a guy, you know, we made dua there, and he told us, you know, how you're supposed to send salawat upon the Prophet ﷺ while you're here. So, like, you know, the Prophet's grave is right there in front of us. Like, for 40 minutes, we're just standing there making dua and making salah, you know, and it was just like, they brought this sheikh from I think the university or something, and he was showing us how to make dua and how to basically take care of it. So basically that was done. We spent 40 minutes in there. So we spent about 3 days to 2.5 days in Medina. So while in Medina, it was so chill. Like, this trip was only 10 days long, which we went, out of which 2 days was spent in traveling and about half a day in Dubai. So we basically had 2.5 to 3 days just in Medina. Alright. It felt like we were in Medina for a month. We get to Makkah. Makkah was about 4 hours away, and we're in Ihram, so we have to go make tawaf. Remember, we have Saudis with us the whole time, Saudi bodyguards. So in our bus, we have 2 buses. There's a police officer, like a cruiser, in front of us and a cruiser behind us. Lights on, basically moving everyone out of the way for us. Okay? So, yeah, right? And it's crazy because they didn't have Audis over there. Most Audis and Audis. So. Okay, so, fail. Okay, so, they were basically, we get there and we went to go make the haram. We get inside the haram, right? And we're all like, nobody wants to look at the haram, the Kaaba right away because we have to pray Isha. And once, you want to be in a steady location and then look at the Kaaba because the Prophet ﷺ said that the dua you make when looking at the Kaaba for the first time is accepted, right? So nobody wants to, everyone's keeping their gaze down. All right, officers say we want to pray Isha, so we prayed Isha right there. Time was done. The Iqamah was done, the Jama'ah was done in the masjid. So we pray Isha. And out of nowhere, 20 police officers come out, and the main guy who was with us. Oh, by the way, so the police officers who were with us, the head of that crew was a guy named Saud, who was one of the crown prince's direct bodyguard. So the crown prince sent his own bodyguard to be with us for the whole basically 10 days. We had a nickname for him. We called him Sly because he looked like Sylvester Stallone. And he used to wear these Ray-Bans all the time, crazy slick back hair. So it was we couldn't decide between Sly, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or Michael Weston. So Sly was the nickname chosen. Okay, so do you guys know who any of those people are?
Just Sylvester Stallone and Ron.
Do you guys know who Michael Weston is?
No.
Bird knows. Bird knows. Yeah. So alright, so let me go on. This is the crazy part. This is the craziest part of our trip so far. By the way, every single moment of this trip is just like an iman boost. You're in the Kaaba, right? You're there. You're looking at it. So the moment we get in, we look at the Kaaba, right? Who here has been to Umrah before or Hajj? Right? So, yeah, but been there, done that. But right, the moment you look at the Kaaba, it's like a shocking feeling. There's no happiness, there's no sorrow, there's no anger, there's no feeling. You're just shocked. You're just looking at, for me, I'm man, I've been seeing the Kaaba as a little kid. You hear the little adhan clocks and it's little thing going off. So it was amazing. I was finally, it's not in Adam's world for once. It's out of a kid's show. I'm this was amazing.
You don't know Adam's world?
Wow, you guys are really culturally inept.
No, I know Adam's world. I'm not sure.
Adam's World was a Muslim kid show, which basically had a puppet. Alright. So get in, right? We're all in ihram, we're doing tawaf. So in the tawaf itself, right? The tawaf is the epitome of your ibadah there, right? The best thing you can do while in the haram is make tawaf, right? Circling the Kaaba 7 times. So we have this wall of 20 officers around our whole group while we're basically doing the Umrah, and they're pushing people out of the way so make our tawaf. It gets to the 7th or it was the 6th or 7th circuit, and we get in really close to the Kaaba, we were able to touch it really close to it, right? The officers move everyone out of the way for us, so every person in our group could kiss the Hajjul Aswad, the black stone. So everyone in our group got to kiss the black stone, and it was amazing. So it was something else. So wallahi, if a lot of people may have doubts and these small little questions about their faith, and it's oh my God, is Islam really there? Am I really supposed to worship God? Is that my only purpose in life? What am I doing with my life? And all those minute questions, I'm dead serious. Just looking at the Kaaba answers all of that. You're looking at it and you see a million people around you of Muslims. You're this can't be fake. This cannot be something out of a storybook. This is the truth what's going on. So the most powerful part of it for me was we were praying on the roof of the haram. There's a nice breeze, the adhan's done. And one of our group leaders, he's a scholar from Turkey, and he was telling us that that if you can see the Kaaba, it's better that in prayer you look at the Kaaba directly when praying versus just looking in your spot of sajda. So we're looking at the Kaaba directly, right? And Sheikh Abdullah Juhani, if you guys have heard of him, he's basically leading the salah. And this is somebody who I've grown up listening to, right? Amazing, just purely amazing recitation. And he's reciting in Salatul Fajr, right? That, O you who believe, right? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, man yartadda minkum an dinihi, fasawfa ya'ti Allahu biqawmin yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbuna. Right? That, O you who believe, that whosoever turns away from his religion, which is basically Islam, he should know that Allah will bring a people who love him more and who Allah loves them. And not only that, they don't fear the blame of people who want to be a critic, and they do what Allah basically has you to do. So the thing which hits me is that, you know, Allah, God doesn't need any one of us, right? We're all replaceable. He can take us out and put somebody else in who will do what they've been commanded to do. So I'm just like looking at it, I'm like, man, it's like, where am I? It's like, wallahi, it felt like a dream. It really just literally felt like a dream. Like there was no emotion necessarily go along with it, except just pure astonishment, right? It's just like, where am I? It's like, what is going on? It's just a whole other thing. So, you know, we stayed in Makkah, alhamdulillah, I got to do 2 Umrahs, and, you know, it's just time for a lot of dua. So, you know, I actually kept, you know, alhamdulillah, I got 20 minutes right in front of the Kaaba, like literally where I'm standing and where that chair is, like somehow, somewhere, I got 20 minutes and just made dua for 20 minutes in front of the Kaaba directly until somebody came and, you know, they wanted to use that spot. But, okay, let me just tell you a really hilarious part which I saw. So, in that spot before me, I was waiting for somebody, and I see a guy with one hand on the Kaaba and another hand on the phone, like this. Right? Because I'm like, I thought, okay, I didn't know it was a phone. I thought he was just resting his head like this, right? So I get closer, and he's on a phone call, and he goes, hey, assalamu alaikum. Faisal, yeah, it's me. Remember I told you I'm doing Umrah? Yo, I'm dead serious. I'm standing right now with my hand on the Kaaba. You got a dua, I'll make it right now. It's like, I'm like, what? I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, alright, so he calls one person. He calls 4 other people after that. He's like, yo, you have any prayers I can say for you? I'll do it right now. It's like, yo, call and collect. It's like,
VIP dua.
yeah. And it's hilarious because this guy, he has one hand on the Kaaba. He's like, alright, I called him. It's like, okay, so he must have called like 15 people considering the fact that I came at the end of his thing, right? So, you know, I got a good chance and I kept everybody in the MSA in my dua. Alright? So, going on, right? We're doing another tawaf, like we're going around the Kaaba. And they make the call for prayer for, I think it was Isha, right? So we started off with Maghrib and Isha came in. For those of you who don't know, Maghrib is the sunset prayer, Isha is the night prayer. There are other people here who don't know that, so no. So there's a part of, so we sit down and we're like 3 rows away from the Kaaba, right? Amazing. When you're that close, it's just like, and now here's the crazy part, right? I kid you not. There are birds which are like just, you know, the way we're making tawaf, there are birds just circling around it on top of that, right? What happens usually here, right? Like, you're on the parkway, like, you know, they're playing Angry Birds in your car. Like, they're basically putting droppings on your car and, you know, droppings fall. There are no sign of any bird droppings over there. Nothing. It's just completely clean. And they're just circling around the Kaaba. Now, crazy part, right? If you guys have been there, there are like huge, really bright lights over there, right? And they light up the whole area. It's dark at night. If you ever look at, like, from a satellite image, you'll see that the area by the Haram is extremely bright, but then outside it's a lot darker. And when you look up, like directly where the Kaaba is situated, there are no stars except one star directly above the Kaaba. Like, it was amazing. I don't know what that means, but I'm looking up and I'm like, there's only one star visible. Like, I mean, with those amount of lights, there shouldn't be anything visible. There's one star all the way up there. It was just amazing. So there's an area, right, if you ever look at the Kaaba, called the Hatim. So you have the Kaaba, which is like I'll actually draw it for you guys. It's pretty cool. Huh? Where's the marker? So basically, this is the Kaaba. I'll draw over here so everybody can see. So this is the Kaaba, alright? There's an area like this, like you'll see, like the area. So you see people sometimes praying in there, right? So that area actually originally used to be part of the Kaaba itself, but over time basically just got demolished or something. So what I think the Ottomans did and other dynasties as well is that they put this little marble round thing around it to denote that this is also considered part of the Kaaba. So when somebody basically prays in there, it's like you're praying in the Kaaba. That's what it is. So it's extremely hard to get in there. I prayed Isha, and every time, by the way, I've never prayed more janazas in my life. Because after every salah in Makkah and Medina, there's a janazah. And like they'll announce, it'll be like for like a child or a woman or two women or women, because they're saying, people pass, like even here in New York, 50 Muslims pass away in New York every month. Yeah. So from the population, that's how many people pass away basically, all the time. So after the janazah, they open up this part. And so the way it's done is that this part is where they open it up and this part's sealed off. So over here, somehow because of the crowd, I get stuck in the crowd and I end up in there.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I hear like a guy yelling because his foot's stuck in between two people. And like somehow, I just end up in there. I'm like, okay, I don't mind this. It's like, so I spent like 10 minutes or so in there just praying, and that was extremely amazing because it's like you're inside the Kaaba. Because the Saudi government doesn't let anybody inside the Kaaba itself. So when you pray in there, you basically are praying inside the Kaaba. And I don't know how it would work for there, but if somebody's actually within the Kaaba itself, you can pray in any direction. So it's pretty cool. So basically that was that.
You have to look.
Huh?
Where do you look?
How do you look?
Where do you look?
You look at the
Wherever you want.
So, yeah, go ahead.
How long does it take to make the walk?
Depends. It takes about an hour. It's about. It depends where you are.
I made tawaf in 20 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours.
How do you make it 20 minutes?
It was empty.
Oh, really?
Then it was full, then it was really full, then I did on the roof. I lost count how many tawafs. One of the craziest tawafs was the tawaf when I first made it in Hajj.
Really?
That was
yeah.
the craziest
Did you do it
tawaf.
from the roof?
No, I did it right in front of it.
Oh, wow,
It
mashallah.
was hard to get there, but the roof is better.
In Hajj?
Yeah, the roof is
3
better.
million people in Hajj.
The tawaf in Hajj I did on the roof.
Okay.
It was better because you get, even though it takes less time on the roof, even though you walk more, you have to have the energy. You can have more mind, more time for yourself to make that, because you're not worrying about sweating and pushing people and touching women and stuff like that. There's always people bumping into you.
Yeah. So here's something else, right? So the Hatim, this area, it's called the Hatim, right? So I got, I'm in there and I'm trying to now find a spot to pray, and people don't care if it's filled or not. Like if there's a place where there's no order, it has to be Saudi Arabia. Like they don't believe in lines. They don't believe in waiting. They don't believe in Have you guys ever seen Saudis drive?
Yeah.
Like they make me look good. In all due respect, they make me look good. I told you.
That means they're horrendous.
Yeah, we're in a bus, and this bus is weaving through lanes like it's like a small sports car.
Driving without lanes.
Huh?
Driving without lanes.
Would you?
Lanes? Who needs lanes?
Yeah, question. Do you have any family members that are women that drive here?
Yeah.
Okay, would you let them drive there?
I want to let my dad drive there.
Okay.
I
had to see that.
Forget my mom. I want to let my dad
I had
drive
to
there.
see it with my own eyes, man.
I met my cousin over there after 8 years. He's like, even I don't drive here, and he's been there for 2 years now. So check this. All right. So we pray in the Hatim, right? And there are people who just keep pushing in. So finally, what happens is that there's so many people, and I basically begin falling. Like I'm about to fall face first into the ground. Some random dude just grabs my hand and just pulls me up. And it's like, I don't know what language he spoke, and he doesn't know what language I spoke, but we I was like this. So it worked out. Then on my way out, there was this Egyptian lady. She basically, I'm trying to get out, And she starts, and there's like 5 women praying in the back. And she starts yelling at me in Arabic. She's like, what are you doing? It's like, why are you standing in the women's spot? It's like, I'm trying to get out, I told her. She's like, astaghfirullah, like looking at me in my face. I'm like, sorry. Okay. So I'm gonna end with 2 things. Medina, we were there for 2.5 to 3 days, and it felt like we were there for a month. In Makkah, we were there for more than 4 days, and it felt like 4 hours. Makkah just like gone. So like basically that was Makkah. So on the last 3 days of our trip. Oh, by the way, in Medina we got to visit like the place where Uhud happened. Where the archers were standing and then they left. Like, we actually went on top of that mountain and we looked at it. Huh?
The lights at night.
We went there in the day.
There's lights actually broadcasting. There's like a big neon light going all the way up the mountain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the highway.
Cool. So basically there, we saw that, and we saw like the area where the Shuhada of Uhud were buried, and like we saw that whole area, like it's like a marked off place. In Medina, I got to visit Jannatul Baqi', which is a graveyard which holds 10,000 companions of the Prophet ﷺ. It is huge, it's vast, and sorry?
You have their names on it?
No, there's no names. And this is the crazy part, right? Some of those graves are extremely old. So if you go back home to like a country, where you're from, they are, the graves fall in, and it's so sad. They see people going, and there's like cardboard on top of them, trying to see if somebody's inside it. Like it's just like, it's completely disrespectful. People are doing that. So we did that in Medina. In Makkah, now this is the crazy part. In Makkah, we got to go to a museum in which there were artifacts there from the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Like we saw a pillar which used to be in the Kaaba from 64 Hijri. Like it's just sitting there. It's so like, decomposed almost. But nonetheless, it was there during the time of Abdullah ibn Zubayr. So if it came out of the Kaaba 64 years after Hijri, it was probably in the Kaaba during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. We saw like stairs to the door of the Kaaba from 150 years ago. We saw like they're making a big extension to the Haram in Mecca. So what they're doing is they're going to be able to accommodate 5 million people inside the Haram. So they're knocking down hotels, dynamiting mountains and everything. Like they're dynamiting mountains. How do you dynamite a mountain? It's like,
Money.
yeah, they do it, right? So basically we also saw like old doors of the Kaaba. Like we touched an old door of the Kaaba, which was there at the time of the Ottomans. So like this is 300 years ago, 400 years ago. There were stone tablets which had poetry written on them, which were in the Haram from 700 years ago, like which we saw and we touched and everything. So we saw there've been, where the Maqam al-Ibrahim is, right? Where you're supposed to, where the footprints of Ibrahim alayhi salam are, of Abraham. So you're supposed to pray behind it. There's one cover there, and previously there have only been 2 covers. So we saw the second one. So it was all broken up and like, basically used and the paint's wearing off. So we saw that, and a whole ton of other things. I'm actually putting together a video as we speak on my computer of all of this, so it's all going to go online. And the last place which we went to before we left was the Kiswa factory, where they make the cover of the Kaaba. So we went in there and they basically showed us how the inside of the Kaaba is, like the cloth inside, and we touched old cloths which they had and everything. And then they showed us how they're making the current outside structure of the outside cloth. So they're telling us how every 8 months they change the outside cover of it, and people are constantly touching it and everything, so it gets worn out along with the sun beating on top of it. So they're basically showing us how the way they'll make it is that we saw people stitching it with their own hands. Like they have people hand stitching this thing together. It's insane. The only thing which is not hand stitched is the black part, which they have machine made. So they showed us, actually I'll bring a video next time, but they're basically machine making this whole thing. And it's like the embroidery, the Arabic calligraphy, it's just perfectly outlined into it. So then we saw that, they go through stages of making the string. The string that they have is pure silk. And the way they prepare it is that they'll take it, They'll wash it in hot water. They'll then wash it again in hot water with shampoo, then hot water with soap, hot water with some other ingredients, and it becomes extremely soft. And then they dye it with different colors.